without further ado, welcome, gentlemen. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone's good. Real quick, we're just going to start by introducing some folks so you know who's on the panel and who's going to be speaking to us for a few minutes. If you guys wouldn't mind just doing a quick intro, maybe we'll start with Vonage Business.
Very good. My name is John Comos. I am with Vonage Business here, along with Jeff Ducharme, the sales manager. Office is about maybe half a mile away from here. Been in the business, telecom, for about 34 years. Really happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce?
Sure. Bruce Wirt with Telesystem. Been in the industry for 20 years, 12 as a channel chief. I have Matt Mishler, my regional channel manager for the Midwest. Matt, do a few jumping jacks so everybody knows who you are. And I'm very happy to be here with GTS and everybody here today.
Thank you. John, Bullseye.
My name is John Kopchak. I'm a sales engineer with Bullseye Telecom. I've been at Bullseye for 7 years. I think I've been in the industry now for roughly 24 years. I'm here with Rich Bleck, our channel manager, Mark Sondergaard, director of channel, and Brian Babich, our vice president of sales. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And Chase.
Hi, my name is Chase Hoxton from MetTel. I've been in the industry only 7 years, so I guess I'm a newcomer. I am here today with my Director of Mobility, Jason McKenna, and we're excited to be here with everyone. Thanks.
And if you would have said 24 years, absolutely zero people would have believed you. So good answer, Chase. And last but not least, we've got Chris with AT&T Security.
Yeah, this is Chris McLeod. Excited to be here. I've been in our industry 20 years and work with our AT&T cybersecurity team.
Cool. Thanks, everybody. And just so everybody knows, we're going to save a couple minutes at the end, Q&A. If there's a certain topic or question, we'll fire it back up. These guys aren't scared of anything, they tell me, so we'll see if that's true or not. But let's go back to John at Vonage Business. We're going to start off by talking a little UCaaS, or hosted telephony. So, John, if you wouldn't mind, help the people in the room, please, with a brief overview on UCaaS. What is it, and how do you see it changing the telecom landscape these days?
Well, I can tell you, looking around the room right now, and I don't think I can have to tell these guys about UCaaS, but in my opinion, UCaaS is a cloud-based service that delivers a ton of features to a customer. A lot of those features are PBX features that are replacing that premise-based PBX. But today, you know, the UCaaS product is delivering so much more than just those PBX features. You know, it's really getting into the collaboration, integration into the customer's cloud systems. And it's really making a huge impact on the way customers are doing business, how they're doing business with their customers. And so, you know, the toolbox that you're getting from UCaaS is allowing you to, again, do business different with your customers. And, you know, through GTS, you guys are allowing these guys to have access to these products. And it's really, you know, UCaaS is here to stay. It's going to be here forever. And as far as the future of this product, UCaaS, in my opinion, the future is now. You know, all the technology that you're getting from UCaaS is allowing you to talk to your customers differently. And what I mean by that is you're not just going to sit down with a customer today and say, hey, I'm $24 a month. We're going to sit down with the customer. We're going to have a better understanding of how they're doing business, what are their pain points, what are their goals. Because again, in this toolbox, you can sit down with the customer and say, hey, look, you know, if these are your goals and this is what you're trying to do, let's take a look at what technology you have at your fingertips to have a better business outcome for that customer. And that's really what UCaaS is, you know, it's where it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. We get more calls on it literally every day. You know, partners that are looking to provide hosted or unified communications as a service. So, John, obviously Vonage is a name that a lot of people know, but the Vonage Business name, it's a little different story, I think. How has Vonage Business positioned itself to leverage UCAS and really make this big push into the business sector?
Well, you bring up a good point there. When you think about Vonage, what do you think of? Residential service. 17 years ago, they launched voice over IP, so that customers can make really inexpensive calls. They could call around the world. And what's really cool, and if you guys don't know this, they have still to this day 2 million customers that are subscribed, paying $20 a month. And when you do the math on that, that's $40 million a month that comes into the company. So $500 million is still coming into Vonage through that residential side. And so what they've been doing since 2013 is they've been taking those monies and they've been hand selecting different companies and acquiring these businesses to build what they have today, which is their business product. And the one key person that they brought on that I wanted to mention was Alan Mazurek came from Google. And Alan was responsible for a lot of the G Suite products. So they're bringing on guys like him. They're bringing on people from Microsoft, from Amazon Web, and their thinking is just really different. So, this product that they built is integrating into customers' CRM systems, into their ERP systems, into their email systems, and it's allowing these guys to capture data that they can use for, like, say, Salesforce integration. I can make a call from my cell phone today, and that call is integrated into Salesforce. All my chat goes up into Salesforce. All my call recording is then uploaded. And it's remarkable what UCAS and what that voice is doing and how it affects that CRM system. So to take this to market, we rely heavily on the channel. But we also have a direct sales team. And in 2018, they decided to do some teaming. And what's great about that is we have a local sales team here. We have 6 people in this market that we can actually work with you, the partner. And if the partner's bringing value, we want to work with you, go in together and sell this, this opportunity, and then roll it up to you through GTS.
Those are all great points, and we're hitting on everything you just mentioned. So a lot of the folks here are looking for little quick takeaways. They cover customers of all sizes, and there's some great hosted providers in this room, of course, and we try and find some business for everyone. But some of the things that John hit on there, the integration with Salesforce is really best of breed. The fact that they're coupling in Amazon Chime, a wonderful collaboration tool for free, and the fact that they've got this dynamite inside team that we're able to tandem up with and team up with and still get full comp, it's a smart thing to do. So thanks, John. Thanks for that. Bruce, if you don't mind, we're going to sneak over there.
Sure.
DDoS. I think everybody in this room has probably heard of some type of denial of service or a DDoS attack. Can you do us a favor and maybe just talk a little bit about DDoS, what it is, and how do you see it impacting the telecom landscape as we move forward?
How many people are familiar with DDoS attacks? Anybody ever have a customer that's been affected by a DDoS attack? So DDoS attacks are increasingly prevalent. What it is, it's a massive flood attack that will fill up even the largest of circuits. So what happens nowadays, especially in schools, if you deal with school districts, that's where we see the most vulnerability. So school districts have kids that don't want to take a test, or maybe they don't want anything to do with school that day, and they'll go out on their smartphone and they'll recruit a DDoS attack to infect the district. And if the district doesn't have DDoS protection, that district is completely down from an IT standpoint for the entire day until that's mitigated. Districts don't always have the money to mitigate the attacks, so downtime can be extremely pervasive. So what we do at Telesystem is we help on the DDoS mitigation side by scrubbing bad traffic as it comes into our network. The thing to keep in mind with DDoS attacks is it can be anybody, it can be any business, and most businesses today, I think that until they start hearing people that are affected by DDoS attacks, they sometimes shy away from spending the money to protect themselves. But what we're seeing is it's so easy for people to recruit machines to be implicated in DDoS attacks. So your smart refrigerator at home, your smart television, hackers can get in there, they inject malware, and then all of a sudden your TV is sending, it's part of a DDoS attack that's affecting a major client.
And I said I wouldn't do this, but I'm instantly going off topic on you. So here's the rapid fire part of this. Did you hear anything? Was the rumor true? Did Amazon Prime Day get affected by a DDoS attack? Did you hear about that at all?
Yeah, I don't know if it's been confirmed, but Sony was the recipient of a really large DDoS attack, shut down their PlayStation network. I think 5 years ago. That's one of the most, one of the biggest known DDoS attacks. You had the Dyn attack a few years ago. Government institutions. So it's increasingly prevalent, and in the enterprise space, it's more and more of a threat.
So, I know there's a couple providers in the room that may have an offering or a tailored solution or a talk track to this, but we found that Telesystems kind of was out in front of this a little bit before most of the competition. Can you talk a little bit about your actual products or services or your solutions that are catered to help mitigate attacks?
Sure. So Telesystems has been around for about 25 years, give or take. We started as the commercial telecom arm of Buckeye Broadband, which is a small cable company out of Toledo, Ohio. And when we wanted to get into the national marketplace in 2010, we tried to figure out what prevents us from being a Me Too, what prevents us from being just like any other provider out there. So we started to acquire smaller companies strategically, and we went in with the mission to build DDoS mitigation inline into our network. So as traffic comes into our network, we have 40 POPs around the country. It's scrubbed inline, always on, so that the good guys get in, the bad guys stay out. Again, for all of you who sell to school districts, we do allow you to use our SPIN number to sell E-rate, so that's a very popular application with DDoS mitigation. The other thing that we do for large financial institutions is we'll take different circuits. So if in a regional headquarters or a corporate headquarter location, what we'll do is we'll have two circuits going into that location, and then we'll groom them back to two different geo-diverse POPs in our network. So all with DDoS mitigation built in. So that's some of the things that we can do. Like you said, we were early adopters, and the biggest component is we're not doing kind of an on-demand DDoS mitigation product. We're doing active, always-on scrubbing for all traffic as it enters our network.
Yeah, and thank you. We appreciate the brevity, but what I'd say to partners that want to learn more about that, just start by maybe getting a hold of Bruce or even Matt Mishler and just talking about that and just getting a quote for one of your customers, even yourself, so you'll understand how that product looks as you position it to a customer that's looking for something that's fully protected for DDoS right out of the box. Thank you. John, going to go down to Bullseye, and maybe we could talk a little bit of SD-WAN. That's, if not the number one topic that we're hearing these days, it's definitely right up there. Could you spend a few minutes giving us an overview of kind of just what is it, why are so many people talking about it, and how do you see it changing the landscape for our indirect channel?
Sure, thank you, Mark. I don't know if I'm just happy that I've gotten the third acronym in the group. I don't know how many more if we all have acronyms, but SD-WAN is obviously an acronym for Software-Defined Wide Area Network. So is the evolution of connecting businesses, our businesses together, has evolved from, and I might be dating myself here, from frame relay to asynchronous transfer mode to VPN, MPLS. It's continued to evolve, and how it's evolved is what's important. So with SD-WAN, the big thing is who has the power to control the data that you want to process. And what I mean by that is, for example, like an MPLS network, you might have a centralized or co-located firewall that your provider is managing. So any changes that you want made to that are made by that provider. SD-WAN in some cases can be self-managed, and you're managing rules not globally through a corporate or a hosted firewall, but you're doing them in the cloud through individual locations. And the reason that's important is, unlike an MPLS network where you're bringing all of your traffic back to a internet drain or a centralized data center, you can now take advantage of commodity-based broadband or internet sources and then dump out certain types of traffic locally, or use that wide area network to bring your private traffic back to your data center or your corporate headquarters. So it's very flexible. It's very easy to scale. It's recovery from downtime, or if there's devices that happen to go bad, it has the ability to provide real-time failover in most cases. So it just puts a lot of control, a lot of user interface control back in the customer's hands or the user's hands.
Yeah, fantastic. And, what we're seeing, it was kind of like VoIP 10 years ago, or then Microsoft did the commercials that were great, right, to the cloud, because the cloud meant literally a different thing to every person in the room. And now we're kind of seeing the same thing with SD-WAN. Folks will pick up one or two buzz topics or one thing they get, but then it gets a little murky behind that. So knowing that everyone's got a slightly different flavor, can you talk about what Bullseye's done to kind of set up their product, maybe their best of breed, and kind of where they see their platform going in the future?
Sure. So, as a sales engineer, a lot of the times when I'm in meetings, I'm observing. So I get to hear a lot of times people say, well, I thought Bullseye was just a POTS aggregator. Well, that used to be the case, but now we're providing internet services. We have roughly 50 wholesale agreements with broadband providers throughout the United States. We're also a VoIP provider. We have a BroadSoft provider-powered network with multiple co-locations. And we've recently partnered, or I say recently, within the last year and a half, partnered with VeloCloud for our SD-WAN solution. Now, a couple things that set Bullseye apart from what we felt are some of our competitors is that in our data center, we have what's called a VeloCloud partner gateway. And the reason that's important to us is because we are a BroadSoft-powered voice network. Our customers, when they pick up a phone, whether it be a hosted phone or Bullseye Voice and SD-WAN, we have the ability to send that voice directly to our data center through the VeloCloud partner gateway and then filter it out to the PSTN. That's important for a couple reasons. One is that we can now provide true QoS over a commodity-based broadband service. And we can also encrypt that voice. And in today's PCI world, that's important. So that's one of the differentiators. We also we give our customers the option to, if they want to self-manage the solution, so maybe they have an IT staff that is up to speed on setting firewall rules, creating Wi-Fi networks, making policy changes, things of that nature, and they want the keys. We can give them the keys, but some customers don't. And we can manage that solution for them as well. So that's another differentiator for us.
Awesome, thank you. And I just want to say, like so some of the partners that maybe say, nope, don't understand SD-WAN, don't get it, don't know how to sell it. Stop, kind of erase that thought from your head and make it a point on your to-do list. You may have a favorite carrier in this room or a channel manager that you're very comfortable with. Just talk to them about it, ask them about it. And if you don't have anyone come to mind, I'm sure John would be happy to have that conversation with you, or even talk to one of your customers to see if it works for them. So, moving along, we're going to stick with another acronym, probably the next hottest acronym out there, IoT. Chase and Mettel. Chase, would you mind just giving a brief overview on IoT?
Yeah, no problem. IoT, or Internet of Things, it's connected endpoints that are passing data traffic either through the public or private network to do business applications. But I think of it more as the Internet of your things. What are you doing with it? What is your company trying to accomplish? Because it really can be anything. We're seeing IoT applications anywhere from fleet management to telehealth in hospitals to connected parking cones and light bulbs and refrigerators. So it really can be anything. When we're qualifying opportunities in IoT, we think of the acronym DNA, which is device, network, and application. So what Metel does is all three of those, but where we really specialize is on the network side, where that really is generally the hardest part, is the network, especially when your devices are mobile and they're going out all over the country and the world. They need to be able to connect to the network. And we've developed some really great products that we could talk about that is able to connect to any network, whether it's in the U.S. or abroad.
Yeah, and I think that partners, even GTS would be the first one to admit we didn't have a ton of mobility expertise or background, only because it sometimes brought on some additional jobs that we didn't have the resources to handle, whether it was kitting phones or outfitting phones. Those days are gone. Mobility is, a huge part, and sometimes even dwarfs the wireline bills that some of these customers have. And as we get into IoT, I can't stress it enough to the sales partners. Talk to your customers about what they're doing with their wireless devices, how they're gathering information. Like Chase mentioned, it's Internet of Your Thing. So whether this is a one-location retail business to a fleet management, we currently have partners working on opportunities from anywhere from five possible connected devices or little SIM cards, which could literally be a $30, $40, $50 sale, up to somebody working on something with a couple million endpoints. And you could not live in a better place, I'm not kidding right now, than Michigan. There are so many different types of logistical hubs and businesses. Obviously, the automotive industry helps us a lot here with the autonomous cars and self-driving cars, but the smart device thing, there's a lot of opportunity here. So Chase, along that line, maybe share a little bit about what makes Metel unique here when you get back to the network side of things.
Yeah, well, we have what's called our single SIM, which is a single SIM card that can connect to actually 185 countries. It can connect to 650 different networks with one SIM card. So domestically, all four major carriers, which is really huge because you can put that device in your fleet or your whatever you're trying to do, and wherever you go, you're going to get connectivity. So that's been big for us. We also partner with all the underlying domestic carriers. So from AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint, and T-Mobile, we can provide what's called cross-carrier pooling. So it doesn't really matter who your underlying network is. We provide you with one single pool and one single carrier to manage all of that data.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, Chris with AT&T Security, going to talk to us about a few niches of cybersecurity that are near and dear to your heart. Maybe take a few minutes and just talk at a general overview on things like penetration, pen testing, or virtual security scanning.
Great, yeah, thank you. So, as businesses move beyond just the basics in cybersecurity, like endpoint protection and firewalls, typically the next few layers of cybersecurity are vulnerability scanning, penetration testing, security training, social engineering, things like that. If you've not really been involved with vulnerability scanning and penetration testing, the difference is a vulnerability scan is really an assessment of your client's network. The technology sweeps the network, looks at every endpoint on the network, looks for security vulnerabilities, and then shares those back with your clients. And the goal is to help them harden their networks. And penetration testing is an actual exploitation of a vulnerability, right? And it sounds sort of wordy, but think of it this way. A vulnerability scan, if you're trying to secure your home, think of a vulnerability scan as something that tells you, hey, this door's open, or the window's unlocked, or the garage door's open. That's what a scan does for your clients. A penetration test is like hiring someone to come to your house, get out of his truck, grab some tools, walk across your lawn, force a window open, and climb inside your living room. That's what a penetration test is. So if you're not selling these services now to your clients, I promise you they're buying them. They're getting them from someone. They can be getting them from you, and they're very, very popular services right now. So Once your client has a firewall in and just some of the basics, those are generally the next couple layers of cybersecurity going in.
Very cool. And as a panel and as a lot of our partners know, taking a step back for all of these products and services, as GTS, one thing what we do is we make sure, first and foremost, we never step on the toes of our partners. You're our most important clients, right? So oftentimes we may not bring up some of these products and services because you may sell things very similar to them. But some of the things that Chris has mentioned, sometimes those are great bolt-ons or augmentations to maybe facilitate some things to keep a different competitor out of that door, right? So something to think about. And Chris, maybe talking about how we sell these through AT&T, I'd be the first one to give a testimonial here. Some of the products and services that have been rolled out over the years that were new to AT through CI, or NI, I should say, were a little bit cumbersome and maybe a little bit difficult to understand. I haven't seen a product hit the ground like this and be this easy to sell with this level of support ever. So, Chris, how can we utilize the services and get folks engaged?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So first off, I just want to share, AT&T doesn't do a lot of advertising on this front, but AT&T is the second largest MSSP in North America. So that's a managed security services provider. So IBM is number one, AT&T is number two. In the full portfolio, there are around 50 different cybersecurity services that are used by every type of government agency and every client out there, even down to the very smallest of businesses. And AT&T has 2,000 cybersecurity people on staff. And even beyond that, AT&T sees 1/3 of all the internet traffic in the world going over its networks, which is an unbelievable thing. So they're uniquely positioned to see cybersecurity threats and trends on a global basis. I've been to AT&T's Global Network Operations Center just outside of New York City, and they literally are monitoring the global traffic, and they see the again, cybersecurity threats and trends. But if you're looking for a partner, please, through GTS, work with us. We're happy to partner with you. These services are a fit for all size of businesses. And again, even if you've not been selling cybersecurity, I promise you your customers are interested in it, and many of them are buying. So, and many of you already know this, but many of your customers are required to buy cybersecurity. So if you've got clients that are touching money, they're touching healthcare information, they're touching credit cards, they're compelled to buy certain layers of cybersecurity, and they can provide them through you. Just engage us and engage your partner, and we'd be glad to help you with that.
Great, thanks a lot. Some of these products, we're doing one call with the customer, diagnosing some basic needs, and some of these products, $49 a month for some of these lower end security deals that we're doing, and they're implemented within a couple days. It's totally different than what you're used to on some of the products and services in the AT&T product family. So. Thanks, guys. I mean, with that, we said we'd keep it pretty short. Does anybody out here have a question? We want to hit a question? Brave souls? All right, you guys are too good. Well, hey, how about a round of applause for our panel? Thanks a lot. They'll be hanging around. If you have questions and concerns, feel free to find these guys. They're some of the best. And thanks again for being on our panel, guys. Appreciate it.